most advertisers will waste small budgets. And me and Carson did some research and realized that there are many ways we can fix this. And in today's video / podcast, we're going to go through it all. We're going to talk to you about the 5 to 7, best angles. We'll be looking kind of at the quality of the ads and how do you know your customer. Then myths of selling budget. Now, of a selling budget, I mean small budget, oops. And then fourth, creative diversity around custom targeting. And then we'll kind of wrap it up with some kind of best in practice and some nuances and also a lead magnet. Ooh, a lead magnet. Carson, you love a lead magnet, don't you?
I love a good lead magnet.
Okay, so, first of all, let's start with kind of the most important thing. What have we seen with Meta's algorithm and why are so many small brands struggling, in your opinion, Carson?
Yeah, so I don't know why everybody is just now talking about Andromeda. It launched back in like July or something. But the biggest thing right now that I'm noticing is a lot of people are still making super small tweaks when they're at $100 a day budget, small budget, whatever it might be. That is the complete wrong way to go about things now, for sure. Meta wants you to take bigger creative swings and have more diverse creative to be able to deliver things differently and find other people, to find the best fit people, really. So one thing that I actually have a call tomorrow and had a conversation about yesterday was like a small brand making tiny tweaks and why it's hurting their performance. The hardest thing to deal with here is like when you find a winner, it's so easy to just make a different version or change the color or change the placement of something. But that's the wrong way to think about it because you need to be taking different format swings. You need to be changing your messaging. There's so many bigger things you can do rather than just changing one little thing and seeing if that does better. Meta's not going to spend on it because it doesn't know, you don't have the budget to diversify enough.
No, I agree.
So like, yeah, and people are just wasting small budgets trying to, figure out their account structure and worry about that rather than, mastering creative and psychology and really following what algorithms are doing and what they're telling you need to be doing in order to be successful.
No, I agree. And I think actually, and it all goes back to psychology, right? If you can understand your customer and you can understand the kind of creative variety you need to have now, you will win. And that is why me and Carson are going to go through, as we kind of said in my intro, we're going to be talking about those 5-7 angles that you should be looking at and the kind of the testing formats. So, Carson, I'm putting you on the spot. Let's go through them. The 7 angles, what are they? And I'll go through it.
For people who don't know, just in case, like if anybody's new to advertising here, or even if you get confused, because it happens to the best of us, an angle is just the emotional backbone of the ad. Like it's just exactly what are you selling here that's not the product. Like what is the form of the messaging, right? So that's what an angle is, all right?
Yeah.
You don't want to be testing colors or fonts. That's completely wrong. You want to be testing like stories, pain points, desires, identity. Those are the certain angles that you want to test, right? So the examples of this would be problem solution, transformation, lifestyle, humor, social proof, scarcity, curiosity is one, and then your product as the hero would be another, I would say. And just so everybody else is clear and up to date here, those are broad angles. There are sub angles within everything. You just have to find out the specific one that pertains to you, right? So if it's problem solution, what is the exact problem? That and what is the exact solution, right? So you could have a product that solves multiple different problems. You have to figure out what angle is this problem exactly.
I agree. And I think, just ones that I'd add as well, you've kind of got the objection flip as well. And I think that's very easy. A lot of kind of big brands will be doing like the talking heads. So a talking head would be me with a camera recording very lo-fi content. And for people that don't know what lo-fi is, it's low quality in the sense of it's not high production value. They do really well. And I think what's really important, and I think the reason why we wanted to start talking about the angles, is build this up as your kit, your toolkit. You're doing any campaign and you're building any ad set, you should be thinking, right, where's my problem solution ad? Where's my before and after? Where's my social proof and authority? Where's my outcome first ad? Benefit over the feature. Where's the curiosity one? Where's the objection, lifestyle, and identity? And then when you've mapped those out, then you can look at the formats. Is it a carousel? Is it a slideshow video? I think it's just really important that a lot of people will look at the bigger brands and copy them. If you've got the ad budget for that, you can get away with that. But because you've only got maybe $100 a day to spend on Meta, you need to be really firing with, precision bullets, right? Really,
Yeah,
and again,
and
it's understanding your customer, which is really important.
it goes to understanding your customer. And here's something that I would say small brands need to do first is when you, like, let's say you're just starting out, you have a fresh ad account, everything, like you're ready to run your first batch of ads. You need to test ads at the beginning with different angles, find which one works the best, and then master that as a vertical. So forget the rest once you do the first one, okay? Once you get a winner that's profitable, then you can go to another one and keep trying to scale that one. But you don't want to just spray and pray everything at once you've found something that works, right?
Agreed.
That's for when you can continue to master and then go broad with the other ones, right? So my initial testing cadence is always, okay, we need to find the angle that's working first, and then we can go up from there. We try different formats, we try different ways of saying it, we try different everything, like whatever we can test at that point, that's what we're going to try to do. But you have to find the angle first, because that's why people are going to buy. And it's going to be the most successful thing at the beginning for you to just double down on, instead of just trying to spray and pray a bunch of different ads. You have no idea why you're doing it, what you're marketing for, and what emotion you're trying to evoke, right? So the angle is super important for people to understand and test at the beginning.
But Carson, I'm intrigued. So what angle would you say the ad accounts that you work with, range from, from kind of the lower figure to the higher figures? What angles do you see work across the board of your clients? Because I think a lot of people would be like, well, Carson, you work with these big brands. Of course you get away with those. They can test all these 7 different angles. What angles would you say, like if you had to say to someone, you've got to choose 3, what would those 3 be? And then why?
So first, it depends on the brand and depends on the product. But I would say if we're talking about just small brands with $100 a day, right? You're like, I'm going to assume you're way less than 10K followers. That's what I'm going to just immediately out the gate assume, right? You should be testing the top 3 I would test, since you're trying to go for cold audiences, are problem solution, identity, and after that, probably lifestyle, or maybe transformation. Lifestyle or transformation at the 3 spot.
Yeah.
The only thing is like scarcity is not a huge one for you. You're a small brand. You haven't really earned the right to that yet. You don't have enough social proof for it to kind of get you through the door. Now, if you do, that's great. Definitely use social proof any way you can, and you can use it not in just reviews. There's multiple different ways for people to use social proof.
As seen in TikTok, as seen on Amazon, as seen on whatever, little things, but do a long way.
Tiniest, exactly. You can borrow social proof from a lot of different things. But I would say problem solution, identity, and then depending on the industry, lifestyle or transformation. Like if you're clothing, lifestyle. If you're health and wellness, transformation, for sure.
Yeah.
Like it just depends on the industry, but the first 2, 100%, you should be doing those.
And I think also as well, I think again, my big recommendation for smaller brands is when you are running paid, and again, budgets are tight, take the learnings you get from the paid and take it to organic. You're getting exclusive data points that no one else is getting because you're putting $100 in. You hopefully have some conversions, but you can look at the data you've got and be like, okay, are there things we can learn? Don't rely too much on data, because that's conversations that me and Carson have had in the past where we've seen brands that have really focused on data and they look at Q2 and they're like, well, where's all our money? It's like, well, you focus too much on data. But yeah, no, I fully agree, Carson. So, but I'm intrigued though, because I know we both said, I think what is clear to me, the through line here, looking at these 5 to 7 angles, is knowing what quality means. It's like, what's a quality ad and how do you know your customer? I know you and I bang on about it. I know people struggle with it. So how are you approaching helping customers learn what resonates with their audience now? Like, what are your kind of, not playbooks, but like run me through that workflow, if that's okay.
So are you saying like, how am I understanding customers more
Yes.
in order
How are
to
you,
pick angles?
Yeah. But how are you working out the voice of the customer? Like, what is your play there? How are you finding them?
I mean, obviously the answer is research, but in terms of, tactical places you can go, obviously Luke and I have talked about it religiously. Organic social, that's a
Yeah.
huge one. Reddit, even if you don't have conversations about your own brand, you can find what people think about other similar brands
Big
or
one.
competitors.
Big one.
For broad overview and even deep research, ChatGPT is great. It'll won't give you everything you need to know, but it'll give you the little things that you need to know. Maybe some things that you might miss otherwise. I'm trying to think here. Like those are really the two biggest ones. But I would say anything you can find on organic and Reddit.
Yeah.
News articles are a big one. I look at those if brands have it, any press releases or anything, reviews. But I know a lot of small brands, like it's tough for reviews because you don't have a ton. So like you really have to be cognizant of what you're trying to find and look hard and kind of read between the lines if you're a small brand, in my opinion.
But and again, and I think, look, I think I said it on one of like the first or second episode of our podcast. It was your copywriter is in the comments. Your
Mhm.
own copywriter is in the comments because they are talking about it. And I feel like a lot of people, that's the thing, like, yes, ChatGPT can give you some insights from on, copywriting, but really, I think where ChatGPT comes in is synthesizing the information, allowing you to digest it in pieces that you understand, turn your laptop off and actually try and write an ad, have a whiteboard and actually think away from it. Use it as research, not the full thing. Because you have to think, where's the unfair advantage coming from? Because everyone has access to ChatGPT, but the research is where you can win. How you research the thing is different. But Carson, I'm slightly intrigued by your view on this. So we do. I mean, look, you and I know. I love a good ugly ad. I do it a lot for the brands we work for. How can a small brand get away with doing ugly ads in the kind of early days?
Yeah, absolutely. You should always be testing anything you can. Different formats, different ways of visuals and hooks, all that stuff. You need to be testing different stuff. Not everything has to be pretty. If it looks native, it's probably going to be have a better hook rate for people to stick around. But y- it also, again, it depends on brand. Like Comfort has a Comfort clothing. They have a mix of ugly. They have a mix of, really well done, just studio shots. And it depends. So like you really should be testing everything in the early days too, when, you have nothing to lose. But going off that, like I know I just said, Luke, too, that like beginners and small accounts should be testing angles. Do you think there's something else, either A, more important in your opinion, or maybe a second place or whatever, in terms of like what else should people focus on testing? Hooks, visuals, formats, what do you think?
You know, I think what's really interesting to me, I think a lot of people, the thing is, right, they'll make a really good ad, but they won't think about where they're sending the traffic. Now, I know this is scope creeping for you and me because we're advertisers, right? We bleed advertisement. You bleed me, you cut me open, AG1 bleeds out in ads, right? But in landing pages, right? I Something that I'm trying to realize is you have to be more holistic. If you're a founder, you may only have a team of yourself, right? It's going to be hard at the beginning, but you think if you are spending $100, you need to have all the stuff set up. There's classic 0 to 1s, such as a good email sequence, a good landing page. I mean, again, what's a good landing page? Do not worry, we live in the world where information is everywhere. Facebook ad library, search up your top competitors, see where they're sending traffic, and then reverse engineer. So if they've got social proof in their landing page, find ways to get social proof. Pay your mates to make a UGC video, right? Talking about your product. Because they don't know this to your friend, right? I know it's, but oh, Luke, it's manipulative, right? You've got to play the game. The game. You've got to find your unfair advantage. And I think it's just really looking at it from a holistic point of view. You make this great ads, and that's where me and Carson come in. When you make more money, we'll come in and help you there. But when you've got the ads, think of where you're sending the traffic. So I think that's a place people need to really understand and test. Hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah. Well, and also Meta, for everybody that doesn't know, like if you're a small account, Meta takes your landing page and that's part of how they target people, right? So the more information you have there, the more you can give them. And obviously, depending on your product, it's gonna help or hurt you in different ways, right? If you're highly educational product that people need to understand more, like supplement or even beauty, sometimes like accessories of sorts, then advertorials could be great for you for a landing page.
Yeah.
If you're a clothing brand, just send them to the product page or the collection page. Like, don't overthink it. Just understand who your customer is. That's it.
Yes.
And going into that, let's shift gears now, Luke, to talk about
Where are we going?
quality ads and knowing your customers, right?
Yes.
So what do you think is let me ask you this instead. How do you research an audience beyond their demographics?
Yep. Great question. So I kind of like a full set framework where you kind of harvest, you extract, you map, and you translate. So I'll just go through it. School's in session. So first with harvest, right? And what I do by harvesting, that is just scrape. That is, again, you were saying as well, like Reddit threads, X replies, Amazon reviews, YouTube comments in your niche. But also what's really important is harvest those things, but also think, what else are my audience watching culturally, right? For example, tech bros, finance bros. Like, what are the memes that my possible kind of customer may look at? And then how can I resonate with them? And a really simple way of finding that out is look at brands and how they do collabs. Look at Touchland and Crocs. You'd be lying if they don't think that countless research has been done about that kind of that collab. You've seen it, haven't you, Carson? Touchland and Crocs. Yeah, right. Like, so what I'm trying to say is, look, what else are my customers buying? Go along the journey. Now, okay, if they're buying my shirt or they're buying my, I don't know, hat or whatever, you know, do they believe in Bigfoot? Is there an ad there? Like, do they believe in, like, and I think that's what I'm trying to say is knowing your customer is you've got to harvest, as I was saying, in the first step, but also harvest things that they may also be thinking about, right? So you've harvest. When you've got all that information, put that into a big old doc, then you can need to copy those exact phrases and pains, desires, outcomes, objections. Have it into a Notion. Me and Carson will tell you we're big Notion abusers. We love Notion.
Huge Notion abusers.
We love Notion. It's a great thing. Use it. And then when you've harvested, you've extracted, get to the map, right? And what I mean by map it out and have this as a living document. Have this, and it's great analysis. You've got the research and use that. Then translate that into headline bullets and like bullets and kind of 3 reasons why, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point. And again, the great thing as well, not only is it great for ads, it's also great for just any words that turn up in your website ad, sales calls, whatever. Use the words your customers are using right back at them. Create that confirmation bias. Sorry, I've gone on there. And then quality ad wise, I would say clarity. If you've got a low budget, think one promise, one call to action, and you'll be good. But that promise that you make needs to really resonate with the customer.
It needs to be important to your customer, and you need to understand them, because you can't write a high converting ad for somebody you've never met.
Boom.
Right? Like, if you don't know somebody, you're not going to get them to do anything that they don't want to do, because they don't know who you are. They have no idea. You're completely different from them. It's so important, and research is greater than intuition, but research also gives you the right intuition. So, like, if you can find out how people are speaking, how they're thinking, what drives them, what do they want to avoid, what do they want as a goal, every ad should make your ideal customer say, "That's me."
Precisely.
It's that simple, or that's who I want to be.
And the thing is, people don't want to do it. And I think it's because they don't know how to. I think you've got to learn the processes. Look, we're living in the world of information. YouTube is a great resource. Hopefully, if you're watching this far, we've given you some inspiration and ideas and approaches and systems. But you can learn from the best, right? People give away all their knowledge for free because the reason why is they know that most people won't do it because it's either a fear, laziness, or just they'd rather pay someone instead, right? Like all the information that the top people use, yes, of course, they'll gatekeep like the 1% stuff. But you can get so far with the other 99% of things.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. So what do you think are some myths and also some mistakes about selling on a small budget on Meta? Because I've got a couple that I'm going to share, but I want to hear what you.
It's funny. I think the big one is, I don't know. I mean, I'd be intrigued how much overlap we have on these because I feel like there could be one. I mean, the one that I'll say, and my favorite would be, is people are like, oh, I can't beat the big ad spenders, the ones that are spending. I mean, look, we both have clients that are spending way over numbers that we would dream of having in our bank account once a month. Christ. But what is very clear to me is and what I'm learning is you can beat them with speed and being really niched and targeted, right? If you have a good niche angle and fast iteration, you'll beat them because they've got teams of 10, 20, 30, 40, and they're moving a big trucker. Your small little, car, right? You know, you'll win. If you can move quicker than your opposition, you'll win. And I think that would be my biggest myth. But Carson, I know you're going to be dying to tell me what are the other myths, because I know you've got some. Tell me, please.
Honestly, the big one for me is just like the fact that people can't compete with big spenders, and if you copy them, you'll be able to compete with them. You cannot copy them. You have zero credibility and no room to be vague in any of your ads. Like, this leads into the biggest mistake, in my opinion, is people aren't specific. They're so broad and so vague with their messages. And I posted on LinkedIn about this the other day. But the vague trap is what eats up small brands. Because if you have no audience and nobody that knows who you are and cares about you, and they don't know who you're for or what you do, why are they going to care if you're not going to tell them? It kills small brands so quickly. And I wish more people would take into account the importance of specificity, right? You cannot go and copy a big competitor. If you're a small clothing brand, you go to try copy True Classic or Cuts, it's not going to work. You pretty much cannot afford to just put pictures on your ads and expect them to convert. That is for big brands. They've earned the right to that. They've got the audience. They've got the credibility. If people like the clothes, they can click on the account and see that they have 400,000 followers or whatever it is, right? They've earned the right to just put a picture up and people will want it. You don't have that. You need to be specific in who you are targeting and who you are for.
Yeah. Agreed.
Going off of that, another myth is every dollar has to count. As great as that would be, it's not reality. You need to just focus on learning. I know that it sucks if you're a small brand, fork over money to Meta and not be able to understand everything right away, but it's part of the learning curve, right? If you can just keep going and get people to at least sign up for your email list and attack them there, that's what matters. Don't focus on every single ad and everything being profitable right from the start. Focus on just learning and understanding your customer. It goes back to research.
Yeah.
It all goes back to research.
But also as well, I think we're living in a world now where you've got to educate first. You've got to build community. And how to build community? You can build it from good email.
Yeah.
And I think you've got to realize that some dollars will buy the insight, and you can then use that to learn and then earn back that dollar. Right? Of course, we'd all love a machine where if I put $1 in, I get 1,000 back. I mean, that'd be the best gambling machine ever in history. I'd put in every dollar I have. But sadly, life isn't like that. So what you can do, a bit of like advice, who knew that would be coming. But what you can do is just, if you do get someone for your funnel, get their email. Even if they do not buy, get them an email. Nurture them in the email, upsell in the email. Like, if you're not taking an email, then you're making a huge mistake. You're paying for it. Get the email. Get them in your ecosystem, and then boom, you convert them.
Yep.
But then, I'm intrigued though. I'm intrigued here, Carson. Is there something that you're hearing a lot more on the client calls you're having regarding? Is there like a myth that you keep hearing over and over again that's really getting on your nerves?
Oh my God, this is yes. We
love our clients. We love our clients.
Yes. Yes, this is one that drives me up the wall. Ready for this?
I'm locked in.
If you're a founder, brand founder, you're about to hear what I have to say, especially if you're a small account, please listen closely. The biggest thing I hear from that, Luke, everything has to be on brand. You don't have a brand. No one knows who you are. Nobody cares. If your colors are different or any of this stuff, yes, it's great, but it only matters the bigger you get. When you're small, you need to just do everything in your power to make money. Stop worrying about your fucking brand color. Excuse my language, but this fires me up. I cannot stand when people are everything they like. You send an ad in a brief, they're like, oh, it's not on brand. These aren't our brand colors, whatever it is. Your brand is not determined by you, it's determined by your customer. You want to be a certain way, of course, but your customer is the one that decides that.
They're paying the bills. They're paying the
Yeah.
bills. Like
So
without them,
stop focusing so much if you're a small account on your brand. You don't have one big enough that people are give enough of a shit about yet. So for the love of God, like stop saying that your ads are not on brand or a certain way. Sure, tonality is a little bit different. That should be on brand because that's about who you're going after. But I can't stand the brand color thing. I cannot stand it, Luke. It drives me up a wall. In case anybody hasn't who's listening or is watching is not seeing me, I'm like
his hands
viscerally coming,
irate,
like there's smoke
irate.
steaming off of my head right now.
Yes, but then it's also it's interesting. You've got to understand, what is the context dependence on a lot of people's information. A lot of people are brought up in believing the brand was everything. And don't get me wrong, I think if someone clicks on your website and it isn't from a paid funnel approach, having a lovely website and brand, gorgeous. I support that. I think it's
Yeah.
great. But if you really understand what the big brands are doing, they're not sending them to lovely landing pages. There are big brands that I won't mention that will literally say, "You're not shit today. Is your pooping bad?" Is that on brand? Would that be in the brand guidelines? Pooping? People just have. It's so important to think, when did I have this belief? What formed that belief? And has the stuff around me changed? That
Yeah.
his algorithm has changed. The game has changed. That's very important. Anyway, not
And listen,
preaching.
I'm not shitting on anybody who is like that or they want to be very in tune with their brand. That's great. It's your business. I'm just saying from an ads perspective, you can't, and if you're a small brand, you cannot get caught up in your colors and certain little words. Like customers see through what's real and what's not. Seed is a great brand because they talk about poop and shit and bowel movements and all this other stuff like that. It works for them. But do you think it's in the brand guidelines to say like, don't or use the word shit, use the word poop, use the word stool, whatever it might be, but like you cannot get so tied up in this isn't on brand. You can't be anal about it. You cannot. It just restricts people's creativity. It restricts conversions. And a lot of the time, the ugly ads, the things that aren't on brand, are the ones that do really well right now.
But I think you mentioned a good thing there. You talked about creative. Does creative diversity beat custom targeting? Tell
Absolutely.
me everything. Why?
Yeah, custom targeting is dead unless you're a super niche and location specific mom and pop shop or doctor's office or whatever it might be.
Restaurant or
Custom targeting, interest targeting, that stuff is out the window. Meta's algorithm doesn't need your help finding buyers. It needs your help finding why they buy. And that's up to you. So you need to have
that's hard.
more creative diversity, and creative diversity equals more emotional touch points for Meta to optimize around. Different formats, different angles, different messaging, like video, photo, whatever it might be, static, all that stuff. You need to have bigger swings in your account so that they know who to target or they know why to target them. They know who to target. They need to know why. Why does this person want to buy? What's the angle that's going to convert them? And the bigger swings you take, the more chances you get at bat because it doesn't look like it's the same thing over and over and over again. And person A might buy from company than person B. Like you and I, Luke, have totally different outlooks when it comes to buying certain products, right?
Yes.
So it's just dependent on the person. You need to know more about why somebody buys and put that into your creative rather than just your targeting methods. It's a waste of time. Broad targeting is the way to go. And instead of like, actually, I'll ask you this instead, Luke. How do you think that creative diversity can reveal certain things, certain insights and information about your customer rather than custom targeting and putting that stuff in manually into Meta?
I didn't even know where to start with that concept. I mean, look, I think you can learn more from actually the creative you give Meta than the actual custom targeting you tell Meta. Because if you, for example, make it simple, if you've got a founder video, right, and your customers start buying from watching your founder talking, or if you are the founder, talking about the why, then you've understood something. So if I talk about the why, because I am the most passionate person ever, founders are usually the most passionate people about their own product because they've made it. you then know, okay, interestingly, people really care about the why. And then you can start to play onto that, and that can help you understand that diversity means different concepts, not the tiny tweaks, as we were saying. So I just think, you can learn a lot by the formats that your audience are resonating from, like the founder selfie, like the carousel, like the meme, like the testimonial cut, right? Like if testimonial ads, like no, I'll give you a better example than that. For example, in the cleaning niche, like Blue Land, Purdy and Fig, Our Collective, Oh Small, are there any other cleaning companies that I've forgotten?
I don't know.
Any others?
I don't think I know any of those.
Okay, I'll keep going. Sorry, but all of them, the classic is literally us versus them. It's one of their biggest formats. So if I was a founder coming into that industry, I'd be like, okay, cool. A lot of the companies that I'll be competing with do the us versus them format. So then you start to understand that market, there's a lot of products, and you need to differentiate yourself. So I think that's how, if that makes sense. Have I answered that? Have I got that correct?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah. And it's like you need to broaden your targeting and narrow your messaging. That's part of the diversity. That's part of it. And here's the other thing that I'll tell everybody as well. When you're a small brand and you need these learnings, creative diversity teaches you psychology at scale, which is just what people care about the most. So you need to not just think what your customer wants or is interested in, who they are. You need to know. So the more diverse creative you have that does the targeting for you, that's what's going to find out for you. And you're going to broaden your audience so that Meta finds the right people and you have more people to choose from in a broad pool than if you just narrow it down to this group of people rather than this group of people.
Precisely. Precisely. I mean,
So,
look, Carson, I think this has been hopefully this has been one of the most useful episodes we've made. I mean, maybe each episode we'd say would be the most useful, but I feel like, a lot of the videos we've made previously have been about, what we've learned from the bigger brands that we work with. If you are a smaller brand, be really, again, I'm not going to use words and like big buzzwords, but I'll just say you can spend longer understanding what resonates with your customer. Just look at what other people are doing, spin it maybe 3, 4, 5%. But again, what I mean by that, I don't mean actually making 5 ads of the same. I'm saying, for example, if it's an us versus them format, maybe turn it to a swap this for that, if that makes sense. Like just iterate, understand the fundamental, then iterate. Anyway, that's kind of my big advice for brands. What would your big takeaways be?
my big takeaway would be understand your customer and find out the biggest reason they buy. And then after that, you can figure the rest out. Or you can hire us to do it.
I really want to. Do you want to do a funnel one? Just talk about like website funnels, landing pages. Would that be interesting?
Let's see if any of our 20 something followers have any recommendations. So if anybody wants to drop a comment of what they want to see and what they want us to talk about, let us know below. We meet on Mondays, so you have until Monday to figure it out. Otherwise, we'll come up with it ourselves.
Look, thank you so much for listening. And if you've got to this far, absolutely, it's been great. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Carson, anything else? Any final?
No, hope everybody got value out of it. Comment below, subscribe, like, anything. All of it helps. Let us know what you want us to talk about, either next week or in the future or whatever. And appreciate everybody for listening. So thank you guys, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week. Peace.